All right, guys, listen. This is gonna be quick, okay? I want to tell you the real reason why this illegal government. Because again, I'm gonna let you guys know everything I say. We make it very clear that the Julius Maada government is illegal. This current regime in power is illegal. Till this day, we don't have the disaggregated data. So we want to establish these facts before I even talk about, because to be honest with you, I don't even want to talk about these, but I want to tell you guys the real reason why the census was postponed. The proposed census for December 2025, why it was postponed. Because again, I don't care about APC, I don't care about the parliamentarians in parliament, I don't care about none of that. But I just want to really tell you, because immediately I saw, this redistricting thing that I saw today with the new districts established, automatically I knew that that was the game that was being played, because this is what these guys were doing, but they could not even communicate that properly. So that is what I want to talk about, because I saw this guy trying to explain himself away with Fabian Swill, because I'm on Fabian Swill's, YouTube page right now, and I'm looking at it. This guy from Statistics Sierra Leone, the PRO public relations officer, was trying to explain the reason why, it was postponed. But I can tell you guys the real reason why the census was postponed. And I see the useless APC opposition. I see they were crying foul, as far as, the postponement of, the census. I mean, you guys know all about the, midterm census that even World Bank condemned, back in 2021, and they even took the funds away, saying that it made no sense. And you all know that even the United Nations, European Union, all of these people, and condemned the census. So we don't want to go into all of that, right? But the fact is, you guys know that these guys, a census is a constitutional duty, but they've abused and misused the word census so much to the point that it's even the people have lost faith, in the whole census thing, So, but these are some of the issues that we have, and that is why it's important for us to, talk about these. And if I show you guys this before I even come to the video of this guy, this was the European Union publication back in 2021, when they actually put out a letter. Let me see if I could put it out here for you. You guys remember all of this, right? Remarks of the Chief of Mission, member of the European Parliament, Honorable Robert Nusa. So these are some of the issues, way back then, when the European Union said the people of Sierra Leone lack confidence, in all of these institutions. You guys remember all of that. So, but that is not what I really, want to talk about. But again, the moment that I, saw the fact that they have postponed the census, I knew automatically. They announced the redistricting. I knew automatically. I don't know, say from that point on, I know, say, that was why they postponed the census, because they're still working modalities in the back end. These guys, they are really trying to grab power. What SLPP is doing is grabbing power. That is the goal. They want to dominate that country. But I mean, again, the APC, it was established that, they had Falaba and Kari in the district, so SLPP, they have to do the same thing, because, hey, the APC did, we could do too, right? Again, what we have is unconstitutional right now. The government is illegal. It does not have the legitimacy, the authority, and the power from the people. And by the way, this was the, publication by European Union, when they conducted, the way they condemned the midterm census that was, back then in 2021. Remarks of Chief of Mission, member of the European Parliament, Honorable Norbert Nusa. I just want to read this point. The midterm census is unprecedented. You guys remember this? The stated reason for it is highly contested. The use of an optional census to provide data which might be used to change electoral boundaries shortly before an election is not conducive to the political atmosphere or good electoral, practice. The mission repeats its recommendation that the voter register should be automatically produced from the civil register, which would save money and time. We have not seen evidence that sufficient progress has been made on this important issue. So this was just 2021, the midterm census. Like I said again, these guys did things so much that people got fed up, with the whole thing about the census and all of that stuff. So this census thing is becoming foolish. But again, remember, the government is illegal. So the moment that I heard that they've postponed the census, and then I saw them talking about new districts, I knew automatically that was where the problem lies. So just in case you haven't seen this statistics, Sierra Leone, PRO trying to explain himself away, I'm going to let you guys listen to this, and then we'll take it from there. Listen to this as Phoebe Swill, tries to get this guy to answer some of those questions. All right, listen to this.
Okay, now you want to tell you are a journalist, okay, and apart from being a journalist, I'm pretty sure you're a rationalist as well. You rationalize things.
Let's not focus on me.
Okay, no, we're focusing on the census. I'm just drawing a line. Okay, now from September to December, okay, I'm leaving the partners out and the other things. Let's even assume the money was given to us, all of the money for the census was given to us on the 9th of September when the president made a proclamation. From September to December, right? If we say we're going to conduct the pilot in December and then have the census done in December 2025, which is this December coming, if we want to procure tablets, we want to buy equipment, we want to have these tablets provision, can we be able to do that in 3 months? We cannot. We cannot at all. I'm coming.
Was this feedback you given to the office of the president?
Allow me
that
to land.
The timelines are unrealistic, that he had pronounced this census for 2025. Did statistics communicate to the office of the president that the timeline is unrealistic?
Allow me to land. Before we
respond to the questions that I asked.
No.
Did Statistics Sierra Leone provide that feedback to Office of President or any other arm of government that the timeline is unrealistic, it's unachievable?
This is Pod 5, the first
So
fully
basically,
immersive
guys,
system. Intelligent.
Sorry about this advertisement popping up here, but this is the statistics guy trying to explain his way as to why it was postponed. And the fact is, these guys don't believe in consultation. But what am I saying here, right? I just want you all to know that this government is illegal. Julius Maada as it is, the elections of June 24, 2023 is still highly contested across the globe. It lacks legitimacy. This man is not recognized as the president of Sierra Leone. Hence the reason we don't have an inauguration for this man. This man has attended every other inauguration across Africa and the world, but he has not been able to have an inauguration of his own. That need to tell now everything I need for know. But the moment I saw, this whole thing, I understood exactly what the problem is and why they postponed the census again that was proposed for December 2025. It is because of this new districting thing that they have going on. So this is what I want to do for you. Let us, we're going to read this together. And so you guys can see exactly what the news is saying about that. And we'll take it from there. So let's read this together. So Sierra Leone adds 2 new districts in 2025. Sierra Leone is undergoing a major administrative restructuring in 2025, with the government approving the creation of 2 new districts and the elevation of additional townships to city status. This move is part of a broader effort to enhance local governance and promote regional development. Listen, again, like I said, I don't have a problem with how they want to, they can approve 20 more new districts for all they care. All we know is these guys are illegal. This current administration is illegal. And the international partners, they should see stuff like this and stop it. This government has no legitimacy. It lacks the legal obligation. It lacks the legal right to embark on such activities right now. Because again, the elections of June 24, 2023 is highly contested. Up till this day, we don't have the disaggregated data of the June 24th, 2023 elections. Sierra Leone is the only country that has had an election where the results is not available. It is a fact. Only country This is worse than Russia. It is worse than Belarus. It is worse than Brunei, if they even have elections over there. Sierra Leone is the only country that had an elections. And the June 24th, 2023 elections, the disaggregated data that to back up and show who actually won that elections is not available. I want to lay this very clear because people have to understand these facts. Therefore, this government does not have the legal authority as prescribed in Section 5, subsection 2A of the Constitution, where it says sovereignty belongs to the people and the government derives its legitimacy, its authority, and its power from the people. This government lacks all of that. They don't have that. Therefore, embarking on these kinds of endeavors is absolutely unconstitutional. We have to make that very clear. But I'm reading these guys to you because I put this together so you guys will see exactly what is going. Details of the new districts. Bandajuma district. The new district will be carved out from parts of the existing Bo and Pujaun districts in the southern province. The creation of Bandajuma aims to improve administrative efficiency and bring government services closer to the people in this region. Again, this is why people do all of these redistricting and all of that stuff. They say they want to bring governance closer to the people. But the already districts that we already have, go look at them. Up till now, no electricity, no clean drinking water, no roads. So this is not going to have any impact. This is not going to make any difference on the lives of people. These guys just continue to play these political games with us. That is all this is about, right? Because again, the existing districts that we have, check them. Check them. No clean drinking water, no proper sanitation, no good roads. The educational system is dying. Healthcare is a mess. It's a shit show. But they are fighting to, redistrict again and bring more new districts, and because they want to bring governance closer to the people and this and that, all that nonsense. And by the way, let me take you guys back. Local council elections. Why did they cancel local council elections? Because they don't believe in democracy. The reason for the local council elections as of in 2001, the reason why local councils were set up was for governments to be able to test the polls, right? So like, for example, when SLPP came to power in 2020, we should have had local council elections. That was the first attempt to destroy democracy. And the APC parliamentarians, even though we called them out, myself, Comrade Koita, Cashbox, People's Power, we're together. We call these guys out, say, Parliament, if you allow the SLPP to give us the flimsy excuse to say that we would not have local council elections because there's no funds, you guys would definitely, this is the beginning and the end of democracy, the death of democracy in Sierra Leone. And that was it. So that is what we have up until this day. So whilst these guys are doing all these new districts and this and that and all that stuff, I want you all to remember that these folks have actually killed democracy the moment they decided to cancel the local council elections. And up until this day, we've never had a local council elections because they know they will be slashed. And that ends the reason why they were able to rig the elections very easily using the cooked up data from the census, the midterm foolish census that they had back then that was widely condemned across the world. I just showed you guys the thing. So now, this is the government, right? Saying Pangoma district. In the Eastern Province, Pangoma district will be established from portions of Kenema and Kailaon districts. This change is expected to redefine the regional boundaries and further decentralize administrative functions in the East. Who cares? We don't freaking care. Additional administrative changes. Lunge Township, home to Sierra Leone's International Airport. Lunge Township is set to be elevated to city status due to its strategic importance and ongoing developmental progress. Again, I know it's possible that the crooked leader of the opposition, Abdul Kagbo, has something to do with this. Maybe this is his own compromise in the SLPP, having these new districts. Because again, remember, these guys don't talk to us. They are all illegal in parliament. The parliament is illegal. Abdul Kagbo, where he's representing, there were ballot boxes still being counted at the time when ECSL was announcing that Julius Maada won the elections. They had boxes that were unopened. Ballot boxes were unopened in Port Loko district where Abdul Kagbo is representing. Salon people, the ballot box them be still there with them not open the itself then seal. Honorable Kamosi reported these things whilst ECSL was announcing that Julius Maada won the elections. So these are the things we have to let you understand and let you guys know. So again, Lunge is going to be, a township in itself. And then, of course, Freetown, there are also plans to divide Freetown into new cities, reflecting its growing population and urban expansion. Don't forget, why Freetown? We already get Freetown urban and, western area rural, right? But now they want to, divide Freetown again into new cities. Remember, they were bringing their people from the southeast to come and take space in Freetown. Remember what they did to the preserves behind, the peninsula, all those areas where the Creole people have their lands. And not only that, but these were all preserved areas that nobody should touch. But these guys, what did they do, right? They went into the peninsula, number 2, all of these places. They even have towns that are Mende towns across that place. Because what? They're trying to flood their people so they can make a base, establish a base in the capital city, Freetown. This is everything that is ongoing. And that is why I'm looking at Sierra Leoneans that are not paying attention to this. This is how dictatorships are born. I would not be feeling that pinch. I would not be feeling that pain. We would continue to be slaves. And these guys, all they're trying to do is assert power. Insert themselves into Sierra Leone, and hence the reason why they're doing all of this. But immediately I saw this, I automatically knew for a fact that what was happening is the fact that these guys have decided, to postpone the census because they were actually establishing these new districts, working the modalities, so that after they've finished working all the modalities of new districts, new towns, and this and that, and then they'll conduct the census. But they could not even communicate that. Everything was done in secrecy, in hiding. They could not even come out and tell the people, say, you know what? Okay, we're going to postpone the census because of this and that, and this is what we're doing. And these are all some of the agreements that they've signed to, that we've always had these laws. It's all about consultation at the end of the day. Not only with, say, parliament, but consultation with the people. But these guys don't respect the citizens of Sierra Leone. So they're not even engaging the people in making these decisions. You just see cabinets comes and cabinets has approved. That is what you would hear. Of course, all of this is yet to go to the crooked parliament. I don't know if the crooked parliament would be able to sit on this, because we all know there's an ongoing political transition when it comes to Dr. Samora Kamara. And we remain hopeful because we know that the international community has promised Dr. Samora Kamara that he's going to be reinstated as the president, the rightful winner of the June 24th, 2023 elections. He's presented the RRF forms. It shows that out of 71% of the RRF forms that he presented, he had 57.15% of the votes. So these are the realities that are actually happening. Let me continue to read this. So why the context and significance? These reforms build upon previous decentralization efforts, such as the creation of Falaba and Karine districts and the establishment of the Northwestern Province under former President Ernest Bai Koroma. The current changes are designed to further promote local participation in governance and improve service delivery. Again, what is service delivery? All of these people in our provinces, go look, no water, no lights, no electricity, right? No good roads, no access to proper healthcare services. All of this. So these guys are just, the people are just pawns in Sierra Leone. And it amazes me when Sierra Leoneans act like, all of these things are not going to affect them at some point. A lot of our brothers and sisters, because they're in the diaspora, they don't care anymore. They're living in mighty mansions. They have good jobs. Their kids are okay. Everything is fine. Hey, you guys can do whatever you want to do in the country. Take it over, mess it up. But Sierra Leoneans have to pay attention to these little things. We've been calling and laying, giving sensitization, talking about these issues, raising the awareness and letting you know exactly what is actually going on. And these guys continue to do these kinds of things, they in the name of improving the lives of the people. But what is there? The existing districts that you have, they cannot even take care of those districts. They're not even thinking about it. So that is the essence. That is the point. And this is why it's important for Sierra Leoneans to understand what is actually happening. So again, the proposals are now moving through the necessary legislative and administrative processes before they are fully implemented. So this is not law yet, right? This is not in effect yet. This is proposed. Now the Govt can go to parliament. But in a serious democracy, even before cabinets come and say they're going to approve or they are thinking about creating new districts, these are things, this is why you have town hall meetings. You talk to the people, you engage. Matter of fact, you have a country where the presidents, they don't even offer themselves for press releases, like press briefings, right? So that they can actually take questions from journalists. Marabi, one day see I take question from journalists. You know, it go tell you say get the Minister of Information, you get to impress PROs. You know, he has these boys that he sends out there. This man does not even take questions from the press. That is how much they value the press and journalists in Sierra Leone. But these are all the issues we're talking about, because these guys cannot face people. And even if it faces the press, I don't think this press that we have in Sierra Leone, the journalists can even ask the kinds of question that they should be asked, right? But this guy does not even take press briefings. You can say whatever you want to say about President Trump, but he talks to the press. I mean, he might tell them fake news and this and that, but he takes questions directly from the press. It is not sweet questions. These are sometimes very difficult questions. But you see, these guys just traveling, is not even talking to the people. But look at this. Look at this right there. I put all this together just, you know, for you guys, so people would have a context. And then, you know, you can share with your friends and, you know, family members. But yeah, so I want you guys to see what it is. New district is Bandajuma, and it's carved out of Pubo and Pujehun. And the province is the southern province. I want you guys to see that, okay? Again, Pangoma is the new district, and it's carved out of Kenema Kailahun, and the province is the eastern part. So again, remember, APC did Falaba and Karine. It was from the north, so they have to do theirs. Again, political punditry. This is all they're doing. You did that, I'm going to do this too. You know, that is what is actually happening. It is not about the interest of the people. But again, the reason why I did this live is the moment I saw, you know, that they've canceled, you know, the proposed census, I realized automatically at that point that this was why, you know, they postponed the census, because they were working on having these new districts announced, basically. So that was the whole reason why they did that, and that was why I wanted to share this with you. Of course, like I said, I really don't care about APC or anything else that's actually ongoing, because the fact is the June 24th elections, like I said, it's still highly contested, and we are going to put a foot down and we're going to defend it. Look at this foolish you know, APC crying foul, you know, for the fact that the SLPP postponed the census. Look at this. Let's read this together here. Coming from the APC, you know, the most useless opposition across the face of the planet, the most useless political party, with the exception of Dr. Samura Kamara being in there. APC is the most useless political party ever on the face of the planet. There has never been a political party that won an elections, and then they're telling you they're moving on to the next elections when they cannot even secure their victory in that previous election. But they're telling you, come register for me, come register with me. Oh, my party is the best. Can you imagine? And you're going to have stupid Sierra Leoneans that are going to register for a political party. They cannot even defend their victory, but they're telling you to move on to the next elections. Look at this. Subject, you know, the statistician general, Statistics Sierra Leone. This is APC writing a letter, right? Look at this here. I write on behalf of the All People's Congress, APC, to express a deep concern and strong objection to the glaring exclusion of the APC party from the technical committee established for the 2025-2026 National Population and Housing Census. This omission is not only unacceptable, it is an affront to democratic principles and raises serious doubts about the sincerity and inclusiveness of the census process. We take particular issue with the misleading statement in your public notice dated 20th May 2025, in which you claim that the Advisory, Technical and Publicity Committee comprise representatives from all political parties, civil society, traditional authorities, the media, and government institutions. This is factually inaccurate. The APC, which is the largest opposition party in the country, is not represented in the technical committee as you have asserted. This is the most useless opposition party I've ever seen. This is a party that should be talking about asking for the disaggregated data from the last elections. Look at them crying foul when they've allowed this unconstitutionality to take hold. But thank God for Dr. Samura Kamara, who's taken a position and taken a stance to say that there is no way we are going to sit here and allow you guys to rig an election like this. Thank God for Dr. Samura Kamara that has taken that position to say we will not let this happen. But this is how sad it is, and this is how unfortunate it is, Sierra Leoneans. But this is the APC party, the most useless opposition you can ever think about. This is them right here, crying foul, you know, about a census. These were the same folks that, you know, sat by and watched Maada rig the elections of June 24, 2023. And they tell you it's done and dusted. They tell you it's done and dusted. These are the same people. How sad that is. You know, it takes me back to, you know, the midterm census that should have never been there. We talked about World Bank. Even World Bank condemned, just like I showed you the European Union, you know, World Bank actually condemned the census. This was after we piled pressure, wrote letters and stuff like that. You know, a lot of good people, you know, we piled that pressure on World Bank. You know, I even have like, this is, I want you guys to see this, but this is like a business card for this. I don't know if this lady is still there, Fatou Karim Toure. I don't know if she's still executive assistant, you know, the office there in World Bank, Freetown. But these were some of the people we had to rain pressure against all of these individuals, you know, just through civic advocacy, took it upon ourselves to fight back, you know. But this is everything that we're talking about. And here we go. These people have been receiving all kinds of funding, but thank God, you know, the funding is no longer there right now. But World Bank, all of these people, we had to write to them and tell them, you know, World Bank pulled out of the census. Let me show you what I'm talking about. This is the letter. This is the letter from, you know, the World Bank. I mean, I'm sorry, guys. Let me do this. Okay. So this is the letter from World Bank in December 7th, 2021. Honorable Dennis Kesavandi, that was the Minister of Finance at the time. All right, December 7th, 2021. Honorable Francis Kaikai, Ministry of Economic and Development Planning, Freetown, Sierra Leone. So this is a World Bank, is a letter from World Bank to the Minister of Finance and the Minister of Economic Planning. Dear Honorable Ministers, midterm census. The World Bank earmarked financial support to help prepare and implement a midterm population census in Sierra Leone under the Harmonizing and Improving Statistics in West Africa project. You guys can read that, because these data are critical to inform economic development policy, planning, and programs. And the 2015 population census exercise resulted in data of insufficient quality to do so. Since September 2020, our task team has been providing technical support to help prepare Statistics Sierra Leone to implement a midterm population census that would result in good quality data. Much progress was made by Statistics Sierra Leone in recent months, and preparatory efforts further intensified recently. To that end, a roadmap laying out the final remaining steps, actions, and technical verifications required was prepared and multilaterally agreed between Statistics Sierra Leone, UNFPA, and the World Bank task team during the first week of November 2021. To date, while work on most action points is underway, with some completed, several critical action points require further technical work to be satisfactorily addressed, including evaluation of the pilot census, the field operation plan for the enumeration, and ensuring enumerators are adequately trained. All these outstanding actions are necessary and must be addressed prior to commencing data collection to minimize the risk of inadequate and poor data quality. There is insufficient time between now and December 10, 2021 to satisfactorily address all pending actions. Therefore, while our technical team remains available to provide continued preparatory support, regretfully, we will be unable to provide further technical assistance nor disburse any further funds under IDA grant number to support the midterm population census following the announced inception of data collection on December 10, 2021. The undisbursed balance of funds earmarked to support the midterm population census could be reallocated to other activities supported under the ISWA project following consultations with the task team. So guys, this was the letter how World Bank pulled out from the unprecedented midterm census, because that was how the European Union actually described that census, unprecedented. I already showed you guys that, and I played it for you all so you guys can see actually, but these are the things we've been saying, to educate you guys and bring you guys on point with what is actually happening. But, unfortunately, people have failed, to listen to us and pay attention to the realities on the ground. And Sierra Leoneans are going to pay, drastically, for the carelessness that we've made as a nation, in ensuring that we hold these people accountable. But yeah, this was, like I said again, this was the report from the European Union when they condemned the midterm census then, but now, of course, these guys are here, listening to this guy, from Statistics Sierra Leone trying to explain, because I saw this video a couple of days ago, but then once I saw this news about the new districts, then I realized, I'm like, okay, that was why these guys canceled the census that should have been happening in December, because they are working on more stuff, and well, more stuff is going to come for sure, but until then, maybe we would have had Dr. Samura Kamara, being reinstated as the president of the Republic of Sierra Leone and bring an end to all of this madness. But I really wanted to share this with you because I think it's very crucial and it's very important, for us to, see stuff like this. And let me see if I can get these out of the way here. Listen to this.
Whether the timelines are realistic or not, there's a reason why. The senior censuses are proclaimed every 10 years. Constitutionally, they were supposed to have been proclaimed. Now, whether the censuses happen in that year or not is another ball game. Mind you, we have never had a situation where censuses have happened in Sierra Leone on the exact date that they were proclaimed, or the exact year that they.
Basically, what this guy is alluding to is the fact that, again, he gave the examples. I can go back as far as, like, say, 2014. I don't want to go back to 1974. I'm just going to stay on 2014 because that was the most recent census that we had. It was supposed to happen in 2014, but then the Ebola came. So that is a legitimate reason to postpone census because, again, remember, every census is every 10 years, right? So 2014, it was postponed to 2015 because of the Ebola. So 2015, the census was done. So the next census was supposed to be this 2025 that we're on, right? But again, now I think after I saw the fact that, these guys have announced that they are establishing new districts. Now Lunga is going to become a township, Freetown. They're going to establish somewhat cities and this and that. I knew exactly that, piecing the puzzle together. This is why they've postponed, or I could safely say this is one of the reasons why they've postponed. Because forget about the funding. That's a whole other ball game there, right? Forget about the funding. But this was why this guy was trying to explain this whole thing away. But Fabian Swill did real well to hold him accountable, to what he was saying, and all the gibberish and nonsense, because nothing really makes sense. And people like myself, honestly, we don't really care about these guys because we know that all of these people are illegitimate. The government is illegitimate. The government lacks the authority to perform any constitutional tasks or duties on behalf of the people of Sierra Leone currently because we don't have the disaggregated data. And some Sierra Leoneans are taking this very lightly, when we say stuff like this. They are forgetting that what we're doing for us to accept as Sierra Leoneans, that we have an elections where the election results are not shown, they're not tabulated properly with transparency, with integrity. We are accepting that as a thing, and we're saying it's over 2 years now. Let's forget about that. It shows the level of unseriousness in our nation for any Sierra Leonean that would think like that. Instead of thinking about the reputation of the country, that we should not be known as stupid fools across the world. Sierra Leoneans should not allow the world to look at us as stupid idiots. Sierra Leone is going to be the only country that has conducted elections, and we don't have a dictatorship, even though we have a practicing dictator. But we have a democracy. So for them to allow Maada Bio and the SLPP, including Mohamed Kanawe Kone, because I would not forget his name, this ECSL man, whom I saw recently in a video, talking about planning for the next elections. It's a travesty where, like, I want to do a special live on him, so I don't even want to mix that video up here now. I don't want to mix that up with this Statistics Sierra Leone. I'm just going to leave it as it is on that statistics, with Statistics Sierra Leone and not mix matters. But this is why, and we should ask these fundamental questions. When are we going to have, again, local council elections? When are we going to have local council elections? Are we settling for not having a local council election anymore? Because I want to give you guys a brief statistics. a brief overview as to why we've been having the local council elections and why it's very important. After the war, after the brutal rebel war, it was made very clear from the Truth and Reconciliation Commission as part of the plan to establish local governments, because they wanted to bring governments closer to the people. So that was very much important as to why they decided to have local council elections, because it was a way, for governments to give the power back to the people, so the people have autonomy and they have control over their political system. But as it is in Sierra Leone right now, there is no, the people lack the control of the political system in the country. The political climate now, as it is, the political structure in Sierra Leone is controlled by the wannabe elites, so-called. When you look at the conduct of the elections, instead of using constituency-based elections, when we still have our constituencies alive, because again, the last boundary delimitation was done back in 2017, and according to Section 38 of the Constitution, it makes it very clear that boundaries delimitations, should be done between 5 and 7 years. And at the time, if you had a boundary delimitation done in 2017, 5 years is going to be 2022. And between 5 to 7 years is going to be 2024. So it means the June 24, 2023 elections, our constituencies were still intact. And this was something that even the Liberians, talked about when they were at ECOWAS Parliament. The Liberians brought this up. And they were like, how can Sierra Leone, leave the constituency-based elections that is already set, where we have constituencies and there is no war? How could they, go ahead and, use the proportional representation style of governance? So these were questions that were asked by, Liberians at ECOWAS Parliament. Matter of fact, let me play that for you guys so you guys can have a context. Because the reason why I'm doing this for Sierra Leoneans, guys, it's hard when you have all of this information. And believe me, this is not even my job, right? This is not what I do. I don't work for the government of Sierra Leone. But when you have all of this information, it's hard to hold it and not share with people, and bring a certain level of awareness, But again, that was why we had local council elections, because we wanted to give power to the people. When you have that, you give the people the control and the power. But when you take that away from the people, the local council elections, and now you, instead of using constituency-based elections, you're using, proportional-based elections. It is like, African Express at least gave the best analogy on this when it was talking about how you go left tar road and say driving at the road is paved and everything. How would you leave a tar road and then you're driving on a gravel road? That was the whole thing. But I'm going to let you guys listen to these from the Liberian members of Parliament's question in Cherikoko at the time. Listen to some of the concerns that they have, because we were trying to make sure that the June 24th, 2023 elections was not rigged. Guys, it's getting really late now, but let me play this for you guys so you guys will see what I'm saying.
The report is beautiful, but we also stated here that there's a major dispute as to representation and how the election will be done. It's obvious. If you speak with one Sierra Leone delegate or two, they will tell you that the political situation they are going towards the election is unstable. There's no need for we to hide anything from each other here. If we in Nigeria discover that there will be no free or fair election, of course we say it out. Because if we say it out, and ECOWAS intervenes, it's helping us. But if we know that there's something that could create problem in the country, and then we come here and sit there and say there's nothing, and something happens, we have lost two countries. So
a situation where police are entering parliament to make sure that there is a decorum in parliament means that that country political situation is not stable.
After the August 10 incident, I think that statement need to be rethink and maybe restated, because we know just a few weeks ago there was a situation at the parliament where parliament member had to fight, and like my colleague said, security personnel had to come in. I'm sure we don't want to consider that kind of situation as saying that security situation is stable.
I think there's a grave situation, and this parliament must send a fact-finding mission to Sierra Leone to investigate this major violation. It's not the first time, it's not the second time, it's the third time. The second issue in Sierra Leone is that less than a year to election, Sierra Leone is still trying to change the electoral law. They're still trying to change the election law to work in the favor of the ruling establishment. I think it's quite alarming, and maybe the Sierra Leone delegation need to speak to this again.
On the issue of the election law, the head of delegation was no mention this, that 1 year to the election you are trying to change the election law. It's not just a law, it's changing the system, where the law obviously affects the system. Now the system is trying to bring into place a proportional representation. But Chair, for the short of my political life, proportional representation is done where there are no defined electoral boundaries. And the law of the delegation of Sierra Leone can bear me out of this. If whatever their law say, I will be willing to listen to them. How do you want to move to a proportional representation when there are clearly defined political boundaries, when there are clearly established political constituencies, but yet you want to move to proportional representation as though there are no laws and order? The last time I remember there was proportional representation in Sierra Leone was when the war had just ended. There were no system, there were no laws. I think they did that. Similar thing happened in Liberia, but after recovery now, after all these years, how come you want to move to proportional representation when there are clearly defined political constituencies?
Guys, that's it right there. That's it right there. That's the fact. So I wanted to point all of these things out because, again, people like myself, we're not rattled with all of this. District, when people are freaking and panicking, these guys lack legitimacy. They don't have legitimacy at all. But these were some of the issues that were ongoing in Sierra Leone. And we fought and spoke up about this. For a lot of you guys, that's why when sometimes, you see people making comments, because some of them, they just started coming on social media. So they're not aware, of what's been, the problem with Sierra Leoneans, because the educational system is so backward, they don't do research. Sierra Leoneans don't go back to say, let me find context. Who's this person? Okay, he's saying this now. Can I just go back on his channel and look at, maybe go 2 or 3 years back and watch 1 or 2 of his contents before I even come out here to make a comment? They don't do that. Salon people know they do that. Then they do research, find out, fine, But then we just can't wait till they hear you talk now. That's what they will jump with because, again, they are thinking from their partisan lens. They're thinking from a tribal lens, so they don't understand these things. But that is the problem. That's just education in itself. Because when I'm on, watching people's YouTube pages or, come by a video, I don't just automatically hear one word and just accept that and say, okay, this person, that's who they are. I go back and click on their channel and just go scroll down maybe like a year and just look at another video and just see something. Just try to find context with what is their position. Are they patriotic? Are they taking sides? Because those are some of the things we I want to know, But unfortunately, because of education in our country, and even when they go to school, Sierra Leoneans don't research. They need research. Sierra Leoneans are very terrible with research. Again, the level of education and all of that stuff. So they're not into stuff like that. So the time and sacrifice people like myself take on research alone, just to come here and sit and talk to you guys. I mean, basically my work is just basically researching all day because I have to be au fait with everything that is ongoing, so I have my responsibilities with the many hats that I wear, different jobs that I have within the system, and I have this Sierra Leone issues again because sometimes I feel like, man, just let it go, forget about them people, man, just forget about those people. But I'm like, no, somebody has to do it. I believe that one day the truth shall reveal itself. And this is why we do what we do, because when I look at the people that are suffering, they don't deserve the kind of suffering that they're undergoing. whilst these guys are just playing pawn, with our people. They don't care. These districts and this and that, it's just political pawnery. They just trying to assert themselves on the people. They're not taking care of the people. Nothing is going to change in Sierra Leone until we have the right leadership, So that is what is actually happening. And I wanted to point it out to you guys, and I think, I was looking at the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, and talking about, the fact that, talking about local, councils, the setup of local councils. I just don't want to download the whole thing on my computer here. But yeah, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, I would implore you guys to read it. Yeah. So you guys can have an idea of what it actually was. I just wish I could, have the whole thing, where I can pull it up and, be able to. I don't want to download the pieces. This looks like a good. Let me see if I can share something with you all here. Talking about taking local government. Actually, that's chapter 21 of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. Let me put that on the screen here. Let's see. This one here talks about, let's see. The chapter titled Women in Armed Conflict sets out the violations suffered by women and considers the current position of women in Sierra Leone. The Commission makes specific recommendations to redress the marginalization of women in the political and social life of Sierra Leone, including a minimum percentage of women to be represented in public office or as candidates in national and local government elections, which we've seen them going with the Giwe bill, gender equality welfare bill. So we have women in parliament, but how many of these women do you really hear? Because the thing is, for me, it's not just about having women in power. Are they effective? That is the fundamental question that should be asked. We have a parliament where you don't even know any women that are in parliament. One of the women that are in parliament that I knew back during the elections, she was making a very dangerous comment when she went to a village, to talk about the elections, how they shouldn't accept people to come in that area, other political parties to campaign in that area. She was one of the, but women, are they effective? Because just having women in public offices, and are they effective? Are they actually doing their jobs? Are they capable of doing their jobs? It's not just, a lot of women would not even support that foolishness. Oh, just because I'm a woman, so okay, we have to support women. No, are they effective? Are they doing their jobs? Are they holding governments accountable? How many women do you know that are in power that you've heard we don't hear anything substantive from? So these are the issues that we have in Sierra Leone at this point, and people have to understand these issues. But this is the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, and it's something that we have to go through and look at, because we have to understand exactly what has been happening. We talk about the brutal rebel war. Look at this 24 here, right? Talks about the last 25 years of Sierra Leone's history. Is in large part the story of Sierra Leone's youths. Youths were the driving force behind the resistance to one-party state rule in the 1980s. As students, journalists, workers, and activists, they exposed injustices and the bankruptcy of the ruling elite's ideology. They also bore the brunt of state's repressive backlash. But today, what do we have? What they've done is poison the youths. Also, our brothers and sisters dying from drug, addictions. Kush is available. We have the biggest drug lord in the country, Boleos. And we've been asking, where is Agnes Bio? Where is Boleos? What's happening? Where is he at? And now we know that the government is actually providing and giving solace, to Boleos. We've been asking these fundamental questions. Where is Boleos? Boleos was in church with Marabio. We've seen these photos, on social media. Boleos is right there. It's in Sierra Leone. The biggest drug lord, the most wanted man in Europe. He's been sentenced to over 20, 30 years imprisonment. Marabio is keeping him in Sierra Leone. How much is he paying the Sierra Leone government? You know, these are the issues that are important to us. It is not these districts, new establishment of new districts and this and that. That is not what we care about, to be honest. That is not what we care about. What we really, really care about is the fact that the June 24th, 2023 elections was rigged. And that is what we want the people to know. But this is Boleos. It's in the country with Marabio. This is Marabio. That's his daughter, Agnes Bio, as you guys can see. That's Agnes Bio. This is Boleos. Marabio right there. You know, this is again Agnes Bio and Boleos. Look at Agnes Bio right there in church with Boleos. This Boleos is in Sierra Leone. You know, these are the real issues. They're distracting us from these issues. We have a drug lord in Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone is a loose state today. I might have to do a special live just to talk again about this drugs epidemic that is currently going on. But this is them right here. This is them. This is them. There's rumor going around that Agnes Bio is pregnant for Boleos. There's that rumor going around as well. But yeah, this is the poster that we've put out. We're looking for Agnes Bio. Agnes Bio has not said a word to us. And, you know, nobody's asking. APC, they're not asking. Members of parliament, the illegal ones, they're not asking. Nobody's asking. But this is Agnes Bio. She can be questioned for Boleos. We've asked for Agnes Bio. Where is Agnes Bio? She's nowhere to be found. You know, guys, but yeah. So I really wanted to show you guys that. And, you know, thanks to Fabian Swill. I'm going to let this guy, you guys just watch this real quick here. You know, with, you know, Fabian Swill. On Fabian Swill's YouTube channel, whilst he was grilling this statistics PRO, the guys, you could just tell it's the state is dysfunctional. It's a mess up state. But listen to this, and after this, I'll end the video. Hopefully, the advertisements don't pop up. But you know, it's late now. I got to go. 8:40. It's almost 9 o'clock. You know, couldn't even spend time with my kids. But it is what it is. Listen to this.
Let me just take you post-war. Let me first of all take you post-war.
Are you saying
2004? No.
Are you saying the president put you on the spot? Did the president put statistics Sierra Leone on the spot?
Fabian, you're not allowing me. You're not actually allowing me to have like a chronological assessment or analogy.
We'll get there, but what you determine to be important as well sometimes may change. We would get things we need to interject and get clarity on. So you're saying the time frame. I'm still stuck on the time frame. Are you saying the president put statistics Sierra Leone on the spot to declare that on the 9th of September and saying it would be done in 2025 December?
Simple answer, the president did his constitutional obligation.
Should it have been done earlier than that? To prepare you to execute the timelines?
It is not my place to tell the president to proclaim a census in 2022 or 2023, right? When he is the fountain of honor, he is the one. It is not statistics place. Let me not even individualize it. Let me institutionalize it. It is not statistics place to tell the president to proclaim the census in 2022 for 2025 when we already had a census that had happened midterm in 2021 or 2021, just maybe a couple of years earlier than that. Okay? Now, constitutionally, and I'll go back to that, censuses are proclaimed every 10 years. And I was about telling you about the historiography of censuses in Sierra Leone and how the dates have actually changed. You did not allow me, but let me still make it clear to you. Now, 63, that we had the census. After 1963, the first post-colonial census that we had. The next was to be in 73 rather. It didn't happen until in 74. 74 was to be in 84. It didn't happen until in 85. Same circumstances, right? Material and other logistical challenges, financial and otherwise. After the war, we had 19 years war, all right? That led to the census being conducted in 2004. 2004 was to be 2014 rather. It was pushed to 2015. Okay, even the midterm we had in 2020. In 2021 rather, was to have been in 2020. Now, census is Fabian, for all I know, and you can fact check this, is the largest statistical undertaking anywhere in the world. Anywhere in the world. It is a complex undertaking.
Join a growing...
All right, guys. I'm going to leave it right here, okay? Bye-bye. But, hey, you can go on Phoebian's World's YouTube page, and you'll be able to see it. Let me show you our page. This is a YouTube page, okay? You can watch